today in this video we are going to learn the lesson life process and the topic nutrition in humans, or you can say digestive system in humans. Human beings are omnivorous organisms. They eat different types of complex food including rice, roti, dal, chapati, meat, fish, pizza, burger, etc. etc. Right? So all these different food items are in its complex and in its bigger form, okay, and these food are eaten in order to get energy, right? But we don't get the energy as soon as we eat, as because the energy is released in a cell, and these food need to be broken down into its simplest form for the cell to respire, okay, or to give energy, okay. And so this breaking down of food occurs in the alimentary canal or in different parts of the alimentary canal, and also human beings have a well formed digestive system, which is a complete digestive system. Complete digestive system are those type of system where there are two openings for entry of the food as well as for the exit of the undigested food, okay. So such type of digestive system is called complete digestive system, okay. So let us see how digestion occurs, or how food is broken down into the various parts of the alimentary canal, right? So let us see what are the different parts of the alimentary canal, okay. So in this diagram you can see there are different parts of human digestive system. The first, the food from where it starts to digest, it is the mouth, okay. So food digestion starts right from the mouth, then it passes down to the stomach from the esophagus. So esophagus helps in the passage or the movement of food from the mouth to the stomach, right? So there is an overall movement of the entire alimentary canal, because food passes from each and every part of the alimentary canal step by step, and digestion occurs step by step into every part. So this entire movement of this alimentary canal is achieved through the peristaltic movement, or it is known as peristaltic movement, okay. So peristaltic movement is an involuntary movement of the body parts or tissues, here the alimentary canal, okay. So this peristaltic movement helps the food to move from one part to the another part, right? So as I said, from mouth through the esophagus it will reach to the stomach, okay. It will reach to the stomach, and then it will reach to the small intestine, okay, and from the small intestine to the large intestine, okay, large intestine, and the undigested food will be temporarily stored in the rectum, okay. So this is the different parts of the alimentary canal. But apart from this part, there are some important glands, okay, and these glands actually they help in secreting enzymes, and these enzymes help in digestion. In fact, the entire process of digestion is enzymatic, okay. So due to enzyme action, the food is digested, or it is broken down into its simplest and absorbable form, okay, right. And those enzymes, I will write it with different color. The glands that help in digestion are liver. Liver does not secrete enzymes, it secretes bile, though bile is not an enzyme, but it helps in digestion greatly, okay. So how does it help in digestion, we shall discuss in our later part. Then secondly is the pancreas, and this pancreas is actually a heterocrine gland. Heterocrine gland means it has a dual function of both endocrine as well as exocrine. It secretes its endocrine function secretes insulin that regulates the amount of sugar present in blood, whereas its exocrine function secretes pancreatic juice, and this juice contains the enzyme, and that helps in digestion, right? That is why pancreas is known as a heterocrine gland having the dual function. Okay. Then another and the other gland we have the salivary gland in the saliva. In the mouth we have the salivary gland. Okay. We have the salivary gland. We have the gastric gland in the stomach. In the stomach we have the lining of the stomach. Okay. So the lining of the stomach have the gastric gland. Okay. And the intestine, that is the intestinal gland. Okay. Intestinal gland. Okay, so these are some important glands that help in the secretion of enzymes and for the further process of digestion. Right? Now we will see one by one in each of the part of alimentary canal how food is digested. Okay? Digestion of food starts right from the mouth, and the mouth is the structure which has a cavity, and inside the oral cavity or inside the mouth we have teeth, tongue, and the salivary gland. Okay, and the salivary gland. So these three different structures or the different things that are present in the stomach, in the mouth, helps in digestion. That is the mechanical breaking down. Okay, so in mouth the mechanical as well as enzymatic action occurs both. Okay. Mechanical breaking through with the help of teeth, and the type of teeth human beings are diphyodont in nature. Okay, diphyodont means two set of teeth in a lifetime. That is, the first set of teeth is the milk teeth. Okay, is the milk teeth, or it is also known as deciduous teeth. Milk or deciduous teeth. That is the first set of teeth. Then this milk teeth is replaced by the permanent teeth. Okay, once it is shed off during the late childhood, then it is replaced by the permanent set of teeth. And the dental formula of women is 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars, and 3 premolars. So this is for the one half of the upper jaw. Likewise, similarly for the lower jaw also, 2 incisors, 1 canine, 2 premolars, and 3 molars. So this is the dental formula. And the type of teeth that are present in human being is heterodentition. Heterodentition means there are different types of teeth, that is incisors, canine, premolars, molars. Some organisms, they are homodonts, means same like a saw, for example shark, right? So anyway, so these teeth help in mechanical breaking of the food and making it into further or into its more smaller pieces, right? And that will give more of the surface area for the action of enzymes. Then as I said, the salivary gland secretes the enzyme amylase, salivary amylase that starts to digest the carbohydrate. So carbohydrate digestion starts right from the mouth. Okay, but protein and fat digestion does not start in the mouth, only the carbohydrate, because of the salivary amylase, or the particular name as ptyalin, P-T-Y-A-L-I-N. Ptyalin is the name of the enzyme that is present in the saliva. Okay, secreted by the salivary gland. Okay, and next is the tongue. Okay, so this the tongue helps in proper mixing and swallowing of the food. Okay, once the food is properly mixed and then chewed well, then it is swallowed with the help of tongue, and the swallowed food is known as bolus. Okay, so this bolus, the bolus, after being chewed or swallowed, it will move down through the esophagus. So esophagus is the only part of the alimentary canal where there is no digestion occurs. Okay, In exams also it is asked to write the name of the part in an alimentary canal where there is no digestion occurs. So that will be your esophagus, right? So after esophagus it reaches to the stomach. Stomach is a sac or a bag like structure which you can see. So in the stomach the food remains for say for around 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours for proper digestion. And in the stomach the protein digestion is started. Okay, and as I said, the complete digestive system is enzymatic. Here the enzymes are secreted by the gastric gland. Okay, so this gastric gland it not only secretes the enzyme, but it also helps in the production of certain substances. Okay, so the substances that are secreted by gastric gland includes the hydrochloric acid, then the mucus, and the enzyme pepsin. Okay, pepsin or renin in infants, or some weak lipases are also secreted in the by the gastric gland. Okay, so each one of them have their specific role to perform. Okay, so first for example the hydrochloric acid. So these hydrochloric acid are concentrated in nature. They are corrosive in nature, they are highly concentrated. And then on the other hand the mucus, which is alkaline, and this mucus helps in neutralizing the effect of hydrochloric acid. As a result, even though it is concentrated, it does not corrode the stomach or the gastric lining, or the lining of the stomach is not corroded even though it contains the acid. Okay, so hydrochloric acid and mucus neutralize each other's effect, but the main purpose of hydrochloric acid is to provide an acidic medium. Okay, so the main purpose of hydrochloric acid is to provide an acidic medium, because the enzyme pepsin is secreted or is present in its inactive state called pepsinogen. Okay, so this inactive pepsinogen is activated into pepsin in its acidic medium. Then this pepsin act on the protein molecules that is present in the food, right? So on the other hand, renin, it is present only in infants. Okay, remember this, the renin which is present only in the intestinal gut or in the stomach of infants, because the babies or the infants are, they feed on mother's milk, which is very difficult to digest. So this special type of protein digesting enzyme is found only in infants. Okay, so then the action by weak lipases also will be initiated in the stomach. So after this, the bolus, the food that is in the stomach, there will be a continuous movement, a churning movement will occur inside the stomach. The food will get mixed well due to the churning movement, and also the enzymatic action will start. Enzymatic action for the protein as well as partially for the fat and also the carbohydrate. Okay, so in this way the food will be digested further, but partially. Then the food that is digested in the stomach are known as chyme. Okay, remember the term chyme. Okay, so remember the word term chyme, and this chyme now it will be passed down through the small intestine, into the small intestine. Okay, so into the small intestine, further the chyme will be digested by the action of enzyme secreted by the small intestine. So small intestine secretes it has the intestinal gland which secrete intestinal juice. Okay, so intestinal juice, and also secretion from the pancreas, secreted pancreatic juice. Okay, pancreatic juice. Okay, so pancreatic juice contains enzyme like pepsinogen, pancreatic amylase, lipase. Likewise, the intestinal juice also contain amylases, okay, proteases, lipases. Okay, so all these enzymes will finally break down the food into its simplest form, into its absorbable form. right? But apart from the secretion of intestinal juice and the pancreatic juice, the secretion from the liver also plays a very important role here, okay? As because the liver secretes bile bile, and this bile is, even though it is not an enzyme, it does not have any enzymatic role, but it plays a great role significantly for the digestion of food. As the lipids, as the fats are in its bigger complex form, it is being broken down into its smaller globules, okay? The smaller globules, so as to provide maximum surface area for the enzyme lipase to act on it, right? So that is what is secreted by the liver, and it is controlled by gallbladder, okay? So the gallbladder regulates the secretion of bile into the small intestine. The secretion from the liver, that is the bile, and this bile not only helps in emulsifying the fat, but it also provides an alkaline medium in the small intestine. Okay, that is one of the very important part, or one of the important role of bile juice. So as in the intestine, the food that comes from the stomach is acidic because of the hydrochloric acid present in it, right? And this acidic food need to be neutralized and also need to be converted into its alkaline form, because the enzymes of pancreatic juice and the intestinal juice cannot act in its acidic medium, right? So the bile also help in, number one function will be emulsification of fat, okay? Number one function, emulsification of fat, and secondly, it also provides an alkaline medium in the small intestine, okay? So this is what is secreted by the liver. And one more important thing that you need to remember here is the route or the way through which they pour their secretion, okay? So liver and pancreas, they pour their secretion through a common duct, which is known as hepatopancreatic duct, okay? Hepatopancreatic duct is a common duct by which liver, hepato means liver, pancreatic means pancreas, in which both liver and pancreatic secretion are passed into the small intestine, okay? So this term you need to remember, a common duct for the passes of both the secretion from the liver and secretion from the pancreas. So in this way, now the digestion will further be carried out in the small intestine. Now it will be completely digested by the action of various enzymes present in small intestine, as well as in the intestinal juice, as well as in the pancreatic juice. Okay, and also already the alkaline medium provided by the bile. Now the process of digestion will be completed in the small intestine. Okay, and now in the small intestine, the inner wall of the small intestine, apart from the intestinal glands secreting enzymes, the wall is also folded in a finger-like outgrowths, which is known as villi. Okay, so these names are very important, which is known as villi, and this villi helps in absorption of food, because these villi are connected to the blood capillaries. These are connected to the blood capillaries, okay, and through these blood capillaries are further connected to the blood vessels, okay. So in this way, from the villi, the blood goes to the capillaries, and from the capillaries it will go to the blood vessel, and finally the blood vessel will take the digested food into the cells. So in this way, finally the cell will receive the digested food and respiration can take place now, okay, as because of this. So in the small intestine, as I said, the inner wall of the small intestine has numerous foldings or outgrowths. Suppose if this is the small intestine, the inner wall has numerous foldings like this, which are called villi. okay, like this. And this foldings or the villi is for maximum absorption, as it will provide more surface area for the absorption to occur. And these villi, as I said, these are connected to the blood capillaries or blood vessels, like this. Okay? Like this, they are connected to the blood capillaries and blood vessels. And finally, it will carry the digested food to each and every cell for respiration. And finally, the energy will be released. Okay. So in this way, our process of digestion is completed in the small intestine, right? But still, now the undigested food or the water that is present in the food will be reabsorbed in the large intestine. So main function of this large intestine is for water absorption. Water absorption and some minerals are also absorbed along the water. So water absorption, the main function of the large intestine is for water absorption. Okay. So meanwhile, I would also like to focus here. This is one structure known as appendix. It's a very common word that most of you heard about it. Person undergoing surgery for appendix. Actually, this appendix is a vestigial organ. Okay. Remember the term vestigial. Okay. Vestigial organ means it is non-functional in human digestive system. So when it catches some infection or if there is some problem, I mean the phenomena called the disorder called appendicitis, then surgically this appendix is removed. Okay, so this has no role in digestion. So if it is, even if it is removed, it does not cause any change or any effect to the digestion, right? So anyway, then it is extended, I mean it is one of the extension of the small and the large intestine. So the large intestine, main function of this large intestine is water absorption or to absorb water. And after the absorption of water, now the undigested food is temporarily stored in the rectum, and whenever the urge comes for defecation, it is removed out through the opening called anus. Okay, or through the anal opening, the waste or undigested food is removed or it is excreted out. So in this way, our process of digestion is completed. So here you can see that it has two opening, mouth and the anus. So such type of digestion is a complete digestion or complete digestion or a type of digestive system which is complete. But there are some organisms whose digestive system is incomplete. For example, echinoderms, right? They have one opening both for entry as well as exit. But here there are two openings both for entry and for the exit of the waste. Okay. So in this way, the digestive system in human is completed. Okay. So there are some topics, some questions that can be asked. Many questions can be asked, in fact, from this particular topic. Say for example, as I said in the beginning, like what is the function of mouth, or explain the process of digestion that occurs in mouth. Then, so let us discuss some questions that can be asked from this particular topic. Questions like from each of the part there can be one potential questions. Like from mouth, question can be asked how digestion occurs in mouth. Explain for 3 marks suppose. Then you have to explain about the role of teeth, about tongue, and about the salivary gland. Okay, secreting enzymes and the initiation or the how digestion occurs. How digestion starts in mouth. Okay, all those you have to explain there. Then secondly, you can be asked about esophagus. What is the role of esophagus? Or you can say name the part of the alimentary canal where there is no digestion. So that is esophagus. There is no digestion, only the passage of food. Okay. Here the structure of esophagus in your class 9 also you have studied about the types of epithelial tissue. Okay. The inner lining of the esophagus is made up of columnar epithelial tissue which is ciliated, and this cilia helps in easy passage of the food into the stomach. Not only that, of course, the entire movement, that is the peristaltic movement, helps in moving the food in part by part from one to the other. Okay. You can be asked from the stomach also about the function of gastric gland. Okay, you have to write the secretion of the gastric juice, HCl, mucus, and each of their role and function. Okay, for 3 marks, that can be one question. Or you can be asked sometimes comparatively write the enzymatic action of gastric juice and intestinal juice. Okay, then you have to comparatively write. For example, gastric juice contains the enzyme pepsin, renin, weak lipases, etc. Whereas intestinal juice contains enzymes like intestinal amylase, intestinal lipase, proteases, etc. So comparative enzymes that are secreted in each of them. And secondly, you can write that the enzymes of gastric juice can be activated in an acidic medium, whereas in small intestine it should be an alkaline medium. Okay, in stomach the food is partially digested, but in the small intestine food is digested completely. So in this way, in 3 points or more, if you can explain it. Okay, so you always try to give it in point wise, and each and every point should be specific, not the same thing be explained in 2 different points. Okay, so that can be done. Or it can be asked from the part of pancreas and liver, like the role of pancreas. Why are pancreas regarded as a heterocrine gland? Okay, or you may be asked to explain the enzymatic role of pancreas. That is, of course, the secretion of pancreatic juice, different enzymes present in pancreatic juice, that can be explained. Okay, and secondly, from liver, the secretion of bile, role of bile. And role of liver, if it is asked, not only secretion of bile, but liver also helps in detoxification of the body or the blood. Okay, if there are impurities or some chemicals or toxic substances present in the blood, that is neutralized or detoxified by the liver cells, that can be mentioned apart from the digestive role. Okay, then it can be asked, of course, about the function of large intestine, small intestine separately, about the role of villi. That is also very important, villi. Okay, it's a finger-like projection here, just roughly I have drawn it. And this villi, as I said, further connected with blood vessels, blood capillaries like this. It will be connected like this, blood capillaries. Okay, and these blood capillaries are further connected to the blood vessels. Suppose this is a blood vessel, so this will be connected here like this. Okay, so digested food will come here. The digested food will come into the blood. Okay, and this digested food will be carried to the cells. Finally, blood will contain the food, and this food will be taken to the cell. Food means the digested food, simplest form of food. Okay, so the simplest form of food, for example here, let me write here. For example, our food mainly contains the carbohydrate. Okay, carbohydrate, then proteins and the food that we eat contains the carbohydrate, proteins and fats. So finally, these different components of the food is converted. Suppose the carbohydrate is converted into amino acids or into glucose, or amino acids, into glucose, proteins into peptides or amino acids. Okay, into amino acids, and fats into fatty acid and glycerol. So in this way, finally, in the small intestine, the food is completely broken down and absorbed. Okay, so from this part also, question can be asked that way. The role of villi, it can be asked that way. And also the rectum, the role of rectum, as I said, for temporary storage of the undigested food, and finally excreted out through the anus. Okay, so in this way, this is how question can be asked from this particular topic. So it is very easy to remember. Here you need to remember only some term. As I said, bolus, the food that passes through the esophagus and reaches to the stomach, and chyme. Okay, chyme, the food that is formed, partially digested food in the stomach and that reaches to the small intestine. And intestinal juice, there is one more term The intestinal juice is also known as succus entericus. If you can remember, it's very good. The intestinal juice is known as succus entericus. Okay. So this intestinal juice, the content of the intestinal juice, comparatively you try to memorize or by heart the enzymes secreted in the intestinal juice, that is in the succus entericus and in the pancreatic juice. So in this way you can prepare from this topic for your exam. Okay, so it will be very easy for you, right? So with this I would like to end my explanation, and I hope it would help you up to certain extent at least. Okay, so till then, bye bye and thank you so much.